Good evening. I was just about to say good morning. My name is Tina Colter. I have been with LifeWave for about 5 years now, and this is February 20. What is the date today? February 27th.
24th.
24th. I'm looking in January. I'm going to start over. No. It's February 24th and Year of the Fire Horse, which is kind of fitting. This is the first pet webinar of the Year of the Fire Horse because it started in February 17th. And the beautiful thing is I was brought to LifeWave because of my horse, who's right behind me in their shoulder right there. She had a severe injury, and my history is that I've been an equine body worker for over 23 years now, canine as well, and specializing in spinal alignment and acupressure massage. And I truly believe, given the right tools, our body's ability to regenerate, repair is phenomenal. But we come across a lot of things, toxins, pollutants, injury, illness, that really causes this aging process to spike up into super speed. And there's a lot of things coming at us in this day and age, as well as to our animals. You know, frequencies that we can't see, EMF, signals like that. And our body really responds very well. Like, we talk about minerals and supplements and hydration, but light signaling to our cells is just as important. Going out into the sun and activating our body. Our body doesn't get vitamin D from the sun. The sunlight signal stimulates our body to start to activate that vitamin D process within ourselves. That's what we're going to be talking tonight about, our animals as well. Because I don't know about you, I know that a lot of people take care of their animals much better than sometimes we take care of ourselves. So I just want to share that my horse was severely injured. I'm going to share some photos of her later on. She got her foot caught in a wire fence. She pulled back and broke the wire, and thank goodness she did, because she wouldn't have stopped pulling back. We found her lying down in the field. She had severed down to her joint capsule, partially through tendons and ligaments, and we got her stabilized with the vet, and then I went to work with, like I said, minerals, hydration. Those are the pathways that these signals that show up in our body, and we're going to talk about a specific light therapy that is quite phenomenal. I'm going to bring up my PowerPoint. So LifeWave is a small patch technology, but has big impact. So it's being stimulated. And I'm going to go over how it works, some case studies, some things that I've looked at. But when I was given this technology, I decided I was going to try it on my horse. What my friend didn't know was that my horse's swelling was so severe, we hit a wall in recovery. There was just no moving forward. It's like trying to rebuild a house while the house is still on fire. It does not happen. So with all that swelling, and when I found, you can see these two, a tan and a white. This is AccuLife patches. And so you put the tan on the left side of the body and the white on the right. And when I did that and I put that on my horse on her leg, within a day, that swelling was gone. You must understand that swelling was there for over 30 days and gone in one day, and I was throwing everything I could think of at it. So when I saw that, that really made me pay attention. Yes, there's clinical studies. Yes, we have clinical evidence, scientific evidence, but the evidence that I get to see every day with animals is the evidence out in the field. And to me, that was the most important. I loved the reputation and the credibility of what this company has done with that studies and such. But what really opened my eyes was when I started putting this technology on the animals and seeing amazing results. And we're going to share that with you tonight. So as you can see, it can be rare when it's riding or out in the field. So living well isn't only for people. It's for our animals too. And when I started to use this technology on horses, and you can't placebo animals, I was lowering pain response reactions in under a minute with the application. I was doing deeper bodywork sessions that used to take me 3 sessions to get through that tightness. I would put this technology on and the horse would be so comfortable I would be able to do a deep session. And you can't deny that. You can't placebo. And so owners were looking at me saying, well, how is this working? We can see that it is. Your animal's not going to fake it. And they started to wonder, well, what could it do on me? So if you're here for your animals, fantastic, but really think about yourself as well. So I just want to give a little bit of vision behind who the founder is and the inventor, because David was a consultant for the US military who created a technology starting with the patches called energy enhancers. And the reason I share that is because that's really where the basis of this phototherapy, photobiomodulation started. He was former work in the classified research there, and he has a global presence of over 100 countries. This isn't a startup company. We are in the grassroots because we are just going into massive expansion from 200 million to 600 million in a very short amount of time, going into $1 billion company. Why is that important? Because that is sharing and telling you guys that this technology is something to pay attention to because it works. And that's what people are getting excited about. So he holds over 200 patents, and again backed by clinical studies. Now the energy enhancers were the first, but what they found with the energy enhancers is that they noticed that there was an alleviation of pain within the US military using it. Not just enhancing energy, but also making them feel more comfortable in their bodies. So then David went back into the labs and he tweaked it a little bit more, and he came out with LifeWave. And that is where it really amplified how this technology started to help with pain and inflammation. And what is pain and inflammation in animals? There is physical and emotional pain that people go through. And we know this, we've felt it. When something doesn't physically affect us, but we can emotionally feel it. Our body doesn't know the difference. I have worked on horses with past traumas where their body is just not functioning properly because they have had those emotional issues as well as physical. So our body doesn't distinguish between that. Our cells don't know the difference. And what pain is a blockage in the bioelectrical conductivity of the cells. It's like a river flowing, and all of a sudden in the center of it, the dam goes up and it hits it. There's the blockage. So that blockage of communication within our body, what happens is our body sends a signal to our brain, and the brain then sends a signal back, something's wrong here, and that signal is that of pain. That is why I have seen how quickly this technology can work on animals, because we're unblocking those pathways with the speed of light. And what are the causes? Injury, illness, repetitive movements, stress, and more. And right here we have 2 clinical studies done for horses. This is what got my attention, because I was not super keen on looking at this. When I saw that they were the size of this, it really didn't look like this was going to be something that was about to transform my horse's life. But I was so happy I was open enough, and my friend said, but they did a study on horses. And that was great. I didn't read the studies. That just validated why I wanted to try it. Then I went back and looked at all the information when I had my own personal experience with my horse and many other horses. But involving 175 horses, one study had a placebo-controlled group, and guess how many horses in the placebo-controlled group were affected by the patches? 0. So it was originally called LifeWave for people and renamed AccuLife for horses. So just to let you know, AccuLife and LifeWave are the same, but just for marketing, they changed the name. Okay. Now over in this study, this is what I want you to know, and not to compare it. We're a wellness company. We're not here to treat, cure, diagnose, make any claims. But when we stimulate the body's activity to wake up and start to do what it's been waiting to do, just given the right tools to regenerate, things change, and they change in a drastic way. But when you're looking at clinical studies with a large group of people, a lot of times 23 to 24% will allow something to get passed through to the general public. 24% improvement. That's a pretty small scale on percentage. So I just wanted to share that, because out of 142 horses, 100 in 2005, horses responded dramatically to LifeWave. 137 out of 138 horses with mild to severe back pain. 137 out of 138. It's phenomenal. So that is the impact that I'm seeing with this technology. Now, a lot of times people go, I don't know where to put them. It comes with a brochure. This is the locations from the study that they used in different areas for horses. If you have a dog, translate it to other animals on 4 legs. 137 out of 138 horses felt a benefit with these placements. So if you feel like your horse may be tender up in the head area, this is a beautiful area that you could do. If you feel like you've got some shoulder stuff, then place the tan patch on the left and the white patch on the right and move it. And maybe you want to move it a little bit forward. Your horses will tell you by licking and chewing and yawning and dropping their heads and blinking. Dogs may just lie down and just rest. You know, look at what indications non-verbally your animals are doing for you. One of my favorite spots, when I use the mouse, it moves it, is right here over the sort of the kidney area. I do find a lot of horses are tender in that area. And so that's one of my go-to spots, and a lot of people agree with that. It's just an area because it's not supported by the rib structure in there. Now, how does it work? How does this small but impactful technology work? It stimulates the body with low-level light and specific frequencies. I have actually had the question, well, where's the battery? Because when we are dealing with light therapy, where's the battery? And I thought, what a brilliant question. We actually are the battery. Your horse is the battery. Because if you notice the photo that I showed with the before and after, with the horse, the infrared light, we all emit low level light coming from our body. Horses emit their light further than we do, but that is what gets reflected back in. So we place this on our animals, and their infrared light reflects into the patch and then gets redirected back into the body with specific frequencies that then communicate what our body needs to do. It is high level technology, and no other company is doing what they're doing, and it's phenomenal. So this would get lost on the shelf, meaning I would never have gone into a store to understand what this was truly doing. So it's fast and effective, and it stimulates acupressure points. And I will geek out on the nervous system and the nerves and the communication channel and the spine. It's my favorite thing. But acupressure points, it's like the fiber optics of the body. So it's a very fast communication channel. And that's why this works so quickly. Now, like I said, there's LifeWave, there's AccuLife, same patch. So in Canada, we don't have AccuLife to order, so a lot of people are using LifeWave. Eon is another one. I looked at the studies done on people, and I decided to translate it for myself to go, well, if this is what this does for people, what is it going to do for my animals? So I chose to utilize some of the other patches, and that was my choice. Eon, I find, calms nervous animals very, very quickly. Animals that are scared of thunder, animals that are scared of fireworks, it just brings them a little bit back into their body. Animals that are nervous to travel. And we have a beautiful Facebook page that can share that. X39. X39, that one, it wakes up our dormant cells that create every single other cell in our body. X39 has just won Biotech Award, Stem Cell Biotech Award of the Year, up against many, and it's very, very amazing that we were honored with that prize. Now, when I went and decided to use X39 for horses, I created a white paper on the benefits of a peptide called GHK-Cu. And the reason I did that is I wanted to validate why this peptide was so important and why I've incorporated X39 into what I'm doing. So it activates collagen, elastin, collagen, fibroblasts, if you think of ligaments, tissues, tendons, and modulating inflammation. It downregulates inflammation. It doesn't turn signals off. This is really important, but it's lowering to a healthy state. Formation of new blood vessels. So when I'm looking at all of this, and all we're doing is waking up our animal's body to do this, our body does never, and our animal's bodies never create more than what we need. Creates the exact right amount of what we need. This activates and amplifies our body to be able to do that. So if you, I'm going to show my horse's injury. And I just want to say, if you do not like gory, please turn away, and I'll let you know when it's done. So this is where I was saying, if the wire hadn't have broken, I don't think my horse would have had a foot by the time I saw her again. So I bought a high performance horse, and I'm not a high performance rider. And when you buy a high performance animal, they also have a determination, and her determination was she needed to get her foot undone. She didn't pause, she didn't stop, she just kept doing that. So when the wire broke, that's when she was released. You would usually see white hair, you would usually see excess of scar tissue, and you would usually see me not be able to ride her ever again. What I did now have was I had my horse back in 8 months. That should have been a couple of years. And we started rehabbing back to riding. So what is that worth to me? It's worth everything. Because that scar that came all the way over to here, almost to the front of her foot, look at it down here. We have hair growing back. This isn't something that we usually get to see. So I paid it forward. I started using this with my clients. I had friends, and whenever we had an injured animal, we were throwing these on them, finding our case studies. We were bringing horses back from a ligament injury from 12 months down to 3 months. And if you're a human, that doesn't usually happen that quickly either. So that's where we just started to do that. So we're always calling in people to be a part of this community. If you're here because you want to try this on your animal, that's fantastic. We love everybody here. If you have somebody that maybe needs to know about this, please send them this recording after we have, or invite them to next month, because there's a reason we're spreading the message about this. It's impactful, it works, and people are looking for it. So this is Dr. Sylvia. She was called out. This horse is 29 years old. September 27th, September 29th, and October 2nd. This is 6 days of going from there to there. Usually at this point, and I know Dr. Sylvia's on here, you usually have to take the eye out. And especially at 29 years of age, regeneration isn't as hopeful as usual. So you think, until you start using this technology. And then we get to change everything. So we also have horses that are not shedding out as properly as they could before. And I know this is a winter photo, but what happens over here is that this horse wasn't shedding out longer hair, sweat spots, the same as the one in the bottom right. That's Harley. She wasn't shedding her hair out anymore. This was in the middle of summer. We started using X39 and Eon on her, and she started shedding out again. She started getting her energy back. She started running up from the field where she wasn't anymore. And then this up top was my horse who decided to cut his head open. So my first horse that I used the patches on was Faith. My second one is Cowboy. I think he just didn't want to feel left out. But he cut down to his skull. And he was swollen. And if you've ever had a horse where you're trying to put things in their mouth to lower swelling, you're also going to be concerned about their stomach issues after you've put something into their body to help with swelling. And they're big animals. If they don't want you to do it, they make a big fight over it. So I didn't have to do that with him. I placed AccuLife IceWave on him. I also added Eon. And then for the repair, I added X39. Now this is a cat that we just got. And Dr. Sylvia's here because I don't have a timeline. But this little cat we started using X39 on. And it's way more comfortable. Stopped seeping. Stopped having to use the eye drops. And we have the cat being comfortable. Sometimes that's where we want to go, is we just want to quickly make animals feel comfortable. And when I put X39 on my dog, my son came home and said, "Did you give our dog pain medicine? Because this is the happiest she's looked in a long time." And the only thing I had changed was putting X39 on. So Spartacus got his foot caught in a net and lost all circulation. And when you lose all circulation, we don't know how long that was. And so we thought we were going to actually lose the hoof wall. And so we started patching and using that technology, and we were able to not lose the hoof wall. Everything came back. What you usually expect is to have white hair for scarring. What we got was the feathers on his legs, on the injured leg, grew back fuller than the other 3 legs, because we were stimulating that specific area with the phototherapy light technology. Now we have 90-day recovery with X39. Allie had severe worsening knee injury. Limp was reduced, pain meds were dropped, and we did have a minor setback because dogs don't like to sit still, and there's a stair injury. But it was a quick recovery and walk straighter with less limping. And what happens is we don't have to put so much in the body that it taxes everything else. This is another one where this is actually Faith's half-sister. Not my horse, but my friend's horse. And her name's Hope. And we did that on purpose. But she had to get 25% of her coffin bone removed because it was damaged. And the way and the rate that it grew back, when you ask a vet to look at these pictures, it's one of the cleanest x-rays for the surgery that had happened. So the growth, and they were not sure what it was going to do, but she is fully sound to be ready to ride, where it was told that she probably wouldn't be rideable. And we want to hear from you. We have affordable light therapy for you Facebook page. If you want that link, please let us know. We can put it in the chat. We have so many animals that we have chosen to put this technology on, from dogs to cats to horses to goats. I do have to say I have a snake, and I put it on my snake. So I'm just saying, any animal, we love to use this technology. We choose to use it. It was made for horses. It has a research around horses, but we choose to use the other patches just because we love our animals. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.